Right at it. Right at it. Oh,
Jordan
he's
Spieth.
done it again. Just as he did at the John Deere for his first win.
Welcome to another production of the Go Get That podcast. Bob, also known as G, if you're watching on YouTube, Jordan and Dan, also known as Mathieu, back to recap the Memorial Tournament. It's nice to have some boots on the ground this week, Bob. Will, give some feedback what it's like to be in person at, I think we'll probably get into it, but what I think might be the best non-major venue on tour. And we will, of course, recap what was a T7 from Jordan Spieth. Disappointing Sunday, but the more I think about it, probably would have signed for a T7 coming into the week.
Yeah.
But yeah, disappointing to have the worst round of the week come on Sunday. But yeah, how was it, Bob?
Yeah, no, there are some people who I don't respect who have some pretty poor takes on this golf course. And it's one of the best golf courses in the world, let alone on tour. And it truly is just a fantastic design. Said person I mentioned is a little bit correct about I would like to see some parts of around the greens be shaven a bit. But for the most part, I think that this golf course design allows for the tournament to be fun with long rough in the fairways. It makes you really decide, especially with all the forced carries over water, how much risk you want to take from the rough. We thankfully didn't see Jordan Spieth go in the water from the rough this week on most notably 9 or 6, but he did go in the water from the fairway a few times. Actually, no, he did go in the water on 14 trying to be stupid. I'm incorrect. I was actually in the pisser while that happened. Because I just kind of expected a pitch
where the shot ended up.
But so I guess I lied and that did happen. But a lot of good, a lot of bad, but a lot of good, I think, is the overall. I think it's a smaller step in the right direction than people may think. But I do think that he's a good player. He's a good player who's just does not have the ceiling needed to win on tour right now. But he's a great paycheck golfer. And that's a big improvement from last season. And I don't think he's the type of paycheck golfer who can't improve either. So I think that honestly, he's playing like a top 20 player in the world right now. He just doesn't have the ceiling that the other 19 in that group probably do. But that comes with time. So Dan, I'll let you give my thoughts before I give my full thoughts on specific things that I saw. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it's pretty well said. Good week, tough finish. I think Sunday maybe hurts a little bit just given where he was on the leaderboard. I don't think
Sunday was
the
bad.
game is close to as bad as what it showed on Sunday. I also think that it's not, and this has become pretty clear, not close to good enough in the way that being good requires consistency. And it's not there yet either. That flurry on Friday to finish, man, was something. I don't think, we were talking in our chat and
He made us
on
feel
social
stuff.
media, like 4 birdies in the last, 6, 5? No, 4 birdies in the last 6, mixed in with a missed 4-footer as well. But just a championship finish to the Friday, and then kind of an up and down Saturday, and then obviously a pretty poor Sunday. That the approach numbers are god awful, but it's really just 2 wedge shots that found the drink that I don't quite understand the strategy on some of them, but in the end, I don't think it's too far off. But a good finish to a 5 week stretch. We think back, starting with the solo four that was sort of, or not sort of, very much backdoored and very much out of contention at Ranch. Then it was the middle of the pack somehow at Truist, miscut, competitive, miscut at the PGA, and then another middle of the pack at Colonial, and then this week was one back with 21 to play, and really got a good taste of contention. I think I would chalk this up as more contention than Phoenix. Um, Maybe not in the sense that I think his chance to win here was probably higher at one point during the tournament than it was at
Yeah.
Phoenix.
Yeah. The golf wasn't
Um,
close to as good, I don't think.
no, I would agree with you there. Uh, and a little, I think just tough way to finish Saturday too, if you think about it. Obviously, the swing on 18 wasn't a good one, but he flushed that iron on 17 and to come up short was tough. There were a few other iron shots that were right at it and just short by 20 yards or long by 20 yards and out of the fairway, and you're kind of like, how does that happen? But overall, T7's disappointing because two shots better and it's a solo five and a few shots better than that, and we're looking at a pretty good paycheck. Some FedEx Cup points, Ryder Cup points, OWGR points, Data Golf points, Dan
Yeah.
points, the whole thing. But
But
tough finish. Not really sure how I feel about like building off of it, right? Because it
yeah.
feels sort of all over the place, but I think it's a good way to cap off 5 weeks, have a week, and go get ready to try and uh, make the cut, I guess, at Oakmont, and go from there.
Yeah. I'll start with this. I think that, believe it or not, obviously no one was beating Scheffler this week. It was kind of a ridiculous, unfun, uncompetitive performance from him. But it actually is quite easy to make up the 9 shots in your head, right? But in reality, his game is not flawless. And to sit here and act like that's not incredibly easier said than done does us no good. Um, it was a weird week. I mean, it was some really good ball striking those first 3 days. I'd like to touch on Sunday a bit. To start, I'll start with the negatives. I mean, that round could have easily been an 80 if he imploded, but he didn't. I mean, he made a lot of long par putts on that Sunday. Um, and it just kind of goes to show how good Muirfield is at exposing you if you're not hitting it well. Um, and that wasn't the story the first 2 days. It was the opposite. Um, but it was nice to see the short game pretty good this week. I think I'll start there. I think that was the biggest positive throughout the week. It was kind of pretty solid all around. All of his poor non up and downs kind of came from the putter.
Yeah.
He had a lot of good shots this week around the greens. But I think that overall, my biggest takeaway from this week is he can play really good golf when he plays smart. And he sort of diverted from that in the last 15 holes. His putting stroke from 20 feet is unbelievable. I mean, it is as good as I can remember it. Every 20-footer scared the hole. I don't know why he doesn't play the fat sides more. Um, because he played to the fat side of the hole most of the first 3 rounds, and did start firing at pins on Sunday, which is why it could have been an 80 pretty easily. But I mean, he was playing really smart golf for the majority of the week and was patient. And I think that's something that I've been needing to see recently, um, which is nice. I think that the putter, unfortunately, is still a work in progress from inside of 8 feet.
Yeah.
Some of those misses you just can't miss. He's a poor putter inside of 8 feet. Um, but what did his stats finish this week with putting?
The putter was a uh marginal positive this week.
I was gonna say it had to be positive after Sunday,
Um,
but
it
that
was not
is
good inside of 10 feet, to say the
it.
least.
So doesn't tell the story.
Uh,
It's
you talked about the nine shots. You could make up a good five or six of them just
six,
on the
seven,
greens.
just inside of 7 feet.
I mean, probably more. He probably had more misses inside of 10 feet, but you can't make every putt, right? But
Right.
um, there were a handful of 4.5, 5 footers that did not go. Um,
Yeah.
Probably one around, and that's
Well, that's
not great, Bob.
generous to say the least. I,
Yeah.
I actually think that it actually has to be adjusted. I mean, even Sunday, he missed that one on 11, which was horrible to get that break and
Yeah,
then
the
not
bridge,
convert.
bounce it off the bridge is crazy.
I
And
mean,
to think the approach play could have been even worse on Sunday if that just does
it's
not
just
hit the
so funny
bridge.
because it's such a waste opportunity because you just know that if that goes in the water, he's getting it up and down for par. So
Yeah,
it
so maybe it was a
essentially,
deserving
he
par.
essentially didn't take the break at all. Like that's arguably what Scheffler does the best is he gets the break and then he takes advantage of it incredibly. So, yeah, I mean, there were a lot, man. I mean, one of the days he missed on 4, he missed on 8, he missed on 11, he
Missed on
missed
14.
on no, did he miss a short one on 14?
Yeah, because it was Friday when he was, but right before he kind of made his charge, he pulled a wedge into the bunker, hit a
Right,
stupid
right.
good
Yep.
short game
Yep.
shot to 4 feet,
Yep.
and then
14, he
flipped it
missed that
out.
8 footer on 15 on either Thursday or Friday. That was pathetic after hitting one of the worst short game shots you'll ever see. So
Yeah, that was the worst short
yep.
game shot all week.
Yeah. Yeah, that was I don't think he puts that outside of 3 feet if he gets another 10 tries. But
Oh, you never know with him.
it
It was an easy shot, so.
is well
True.
said. It is well said. But he judged lies well this week, which is nice. He made a few bonehead decisions, um, but he got away with them. So for the most part, he played smart the first 3 days. I don't know why he went for it on 6 earlier in the week. Don't know why he went for it on 9 earlier in the week. Don't know why he took driver on 9 when he did. Um, but you can play the what if game all you want. I think overall it was fun to watch him hit the ball like he did on occasions. And, when there was a real meaningful weekend final 27 hole fist pump on that 14th hole on Saturday. And that's something that we haven't seen in a long time. I mean, he was 4-1 to win the golf tournament with 21 holes to go. So he was there. He was there. It was contention, probably the deepest contention he's been in this year. Um, Definitely the best odds he's had to win a tournament at any point. So pretty pretty fun week to be out there. I still want to see an image. If any follower or listener can send it to me on whatever Colt Nost was talking about the setup on Sunday. I still have yet to see a picture, and I did not notice it when I was there. So, um, I'd love to see what he was talking about there. But the irons weren't good on Sunday at all. But
He was talking about the hands being out in front.
yeah,
And the problem, I mean, hopefully someone will get you a photo. Problem is, Colt's closer to him than like anyone else on the course.
Yeah, I'm just surprised the broadcast didn't pick up an angle that would have.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Um, yeah, clearly
Maybe I'll go
contributed.
back and watch like featured holes.
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe
I can
I'm not
visualize in my
sure.
head kind of what it looks like, but
Yeah, I'm not sure it's that like noticeable. Like I think it's one of those things where it's like his hands were a degree behind where they needed to be at address, and it just caused a little bit loose and a little bit flary, and had to be a little bit safety at the bottom.
that's the margins. It's actually funny. After Colt said that, I put in our group chat, Scheffler, every time he hits an iron shot, looks at his hands first to see where they are.
Yeah,
Why does not Spieth, especially if that's what's causing these like days in which like Friday he's the best iron player in the field and then Sunday it goes to crap. If it's just a little thing like that, it seems pretty fixable if you just look at your hand, like check
yeah.
it. Because
My
the
guess
reason
is
Scheffler does it, and it works pretty well, it seems.
my guess is that his issues entering the week were bigger than just where his hands were lined up.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Um, and I think it's unfortunate that that's kind of how it is played out. Because the first few holes were solid.
One
And he
under through
flushed
two,
one
yeah.
over. Sorry.
One under through two, yeah. It's
Yeah, he threw a dart to eight. I mean, well, the
one
first
else.
hole was the ugliest hole you'll have ever seen, but then two was played really solidly. Three was, I guess, not great, but had a flushed one on six, and then went over 12 yards over the green. And after that, the iron play just kind of disappeared. But I didn't mean to cut you off, Jordan.
No, you're good.
Curious
I
to hear
mean,
what you kind of thought about the whole week.
yeah, I think kind of the more I think about it, Sunday really sucked, but it's like he wasn't really in it Sunday. I mean, I guess he was in it a little bit early. I mean, but he
No,
was mostly in
I
it
mean, yeah,
Saturday.
yeah, I guess when he made the putt, but
He was more in it Saturday and he played pretty well that like the day he was more in it. I mean, I guess he was in it Sunday, but kind of looking back now and seeing what he would have needed. And that's probably why he got, a little bit more aggressive on Sunday because he knew he needed. I don't think he like cares that he played like number wise that bad on
Yeah,
Sunday because I think he was taking on targets that I don't know if he takes on. I mean, the risk from the rough, especially 14 comes to mind. Like, I don't think that's a line he's taking. And the nine,
probably.
obviously, in between clubs. But he's gonna have a chance to prove that to us when we get to Oakmont next week. That Sunday was more of just, I got aggressive because I needed to make birdies. I don't really care if I finish T7 instead of solo five. He'll have an opportunity to really show us next week if, what we saw Thursday through Saturday is more of who he is compared to Sunday.
I think
yeah, I think that's fair. I think that his ability to I'm this has me very excited for the European swing. Um,
Jules, if he's there.
I think that inside of 5 feet or inside of 8 feet will be better overseas. Um, I think that if the ball striking can continue, um, and if you can keep driving the ball like this, I see no reason why I can't contend at one of those two tournaments. Wouldn't get your hopes up for next week by any means.
no.
Um, I'm not sure him breaking 70 isn't plus well into the plus monies.
Oakmont is a 70.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't foresee that. I think he'll be better suited for it. Interestingly, I think he's better suited for it now than he was in 16.
I disagree. Well, yes, suited for it, maybe, but chance to play well, no. He was
That's
just
that's
better
fair.
golfer.
That's fair. I
I
think
agree
it's a
with Bob.
better.
He shot one under one of the days there, right? That's
That's
not
a great
He
happening.
round
did.
out there.
Not
Um,
happening.
Considering I played to what, 3.5 over almost
Yeah.
every day, which is chilling, by the way.
And
I'm so
it
excited
should
for
be
that.
harder this year, which is chills.
I mean, we hope so. Hopefully the rain kind of stays away. But to that point, like I think if he drives it well, I just have a bad feeling Mills may be on vacation that week, which
Typically as in
um
US Opens.
right. It hasn't been well, yes, Mills has been out of a lot of majors for a long time, but
He hasn't participated in majors.
yes, Mills has been on the bench.
Mills put in his work and hit his quota for the month of June on Sunday, so he will be taking a rest.
Yeah, Mills, man.
I mean, since strokes gained putting has been tracked the last six majors, Spieth hasn't putted well in any of the last six US Opens. So
It's been bad.
the first time he puts well in the US Open will be the first time in a long time.
Well, and I think
He stares a 6-footer in the face for par, and she's a daunting task.
yeah. Well, it'll be interesting because either I think, and I don't think it'll last, but if he makes a few in the front nine, I think it's like, oh, like
It's tall,
this could
tall
be kind
order.
of fun. But if he misses like the first couple putts, it's over. Like we might as
Are
well.
these like 10 footers for bogey, Dan? Or
Well, I don't know. I think the B striking. So that's the kind of the obviously we've talked about it all season is like can the B striking carry over? Um, and obviously that's what creates the floor, but all or is what elevates the ceiling. Right, the floor is created by the short game and the driver and the putter being at least more than serviceable in moments. And the ceiling, which we've talked a little bit about, because his rolling average now is pretty good on data golf, which if you're not overly familiar with what that means, it's just like how many strokes do you gain per round relative to your peers on average. Scheffler's is utterly ridiculous over the past whatever. But Spieth
387
is,
currently.
yeah, which is like Tiger levels. That's like it's a Tiger stretch, which it makes sense. He's won three out of the last four, including a major and probably the next closest thing to a major.
And all three have been in dominating fashion.
Yeah, by a lot. Uh, but Spieth's at I don't know what his number is, but you were saying Jordan, he's like right around that top
Yeah.
10. So Data Golf has him at 22. Like he's actually trending in the game. I think it's another week with
Well,
more
it's nice
positive
because it's
strokes overall.
it's getting to a point where this progression from small paychecks to larger paychecks is it can only go so much further without producing more results.
Well, and that's I think important to note because like this was a proper taste of it Saturday afternoon, and I think it's he didn't the scorecard show that he sort of folded, but I don't think the game was just quite sharp enough. But you don't know what it needs to be until you get there. And he
Yeah, I
finally got
mean,
there for just a 20 minutes he was there.
I'd like to credit Spieth's. Wow, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'd like to credit Spieth's mental toughness this week. Um, because there
Like
were
you
a
have
lot of like
somebody
you
needs to
know
clip
how
that.
much he wants to win, right? And seeing all of those short putts miss easily could have just mentally taken him out of it. I mean, that's a golf course where you have to think every shot, and be so precise no matter how conservative your target is, just because of how hard and demanding the golf course is, that he could have folded all week. He was missing those putts all week till Sunday and wasn't getting many breaks. And he stayed in it and he was patient. And the two birdies came at the end of Saturday or Friday and got him in a spot to win on the weekend. And I think that's good for one. I think that's good to know. I think that he can look back on that at Oakmont if he's 2 over through 4 and be like, okay, how do I
like
How do I
Ryan.
get
He'd be-
back?
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
It certainly can't be 2 over through 4 at Oakmont. 2 over through 4 most likely leads to a score that begins with an 8.
No, there'll be many 2 over through 4.
Yes. 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 I'll say this. I think that overall, Spieth has lacked mental toughness recently, and that was my biggest takeaway from the week. Is even when the times got tough on Sunday, when he had no swing, he made a lot of big putts. And I think that's nice because, he plays like that at Oakmont and isn't mentally tough. It could be a score well worse than Wingfoot.
Yeah.
So I'm excited that he has something to lean back on in such recent memory to be like, okay, I was 2 over through 3 at the Memorial. I was 1 over through 6 both days of the week to start. If I'm 2 over through 4, how do I and 2 over through 4 still could lead to an absolute implosion and collapse. But I think it's nice that he has that to fall back on in such recent memory and be like, okay, I just did this last week. How do I get myself back into the tournament and shoot 1 over? You know?
Yeah. Well, I think certainly, obviously, Sunday wasn't the great. We've mentioned that a few times, but it should be a bit of a confidence boost. I would hope it is. It's like, oh, I was actually there. Like the things that I've been saying that I'm close to,
You showed up.
and what I've thought about my game kind of reflected a little bit more on the leaderboard this week. And I think, you know, it's tough not to look ahead to Oakmont because it's a major and majors are fun, and Oakmont is going to be
Not
a
fun.
spectacle.
Be fun
Um,
for the viewers.
yeah, but it should, if he walks in there with just a few ounces of confidence, I think he can play a little bit better than what might be expected.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that if he I wanted to say that the path to playing well at Oakmont is making every putt, but I still don't think that's good enough.
Ain't gonna happen either.
Yeah, no, it's not. But I think that seeing a few go in early at Oakmont could go a long way. Like you said, Dan. And
Favorite surfaces at Oakmont.
yeah,
Oh, great power
Oh,
player.
this could be a long, short week. If that makes sense.
it could be a lot of golf shots taken in 2 rounds.
Great power putter.
Great putter in general.
But also,
Um,
I mean, Oakmont's shiny. Like the greens will be quick and kind
they'll
of
rotate.
awkwardly slopey.
Yeah.
He could
Really,
lap the field around the greens.
let's
He likes long grass around the greens.
Yeah.
that's where his game is better suited right now. You give him a tight lie to a front pin, it's 8 feet by or 8 feet short. But you give him a tough lie out of 5 inch rough and big side slope to the left, false front, and it'll
Yeah.
be 3 feet. It's like,
Yeah, I mean
okay.
the contours there at Oakmont
Yeah.
are gnarly. I think his creativity will give him a leg up there, but
Well, that's the other thing. Like
he should hit a lot of fairways. It's just the iron play. It's gonna need to cooperate, and he's gonna need to not three putt at a large number of times because it
Yeah.
seems very possible that he could do that.
Yeah. Agreed. I mean, we don't have to get too far into Oakmont yet because I'm sure we'll do a live pod and we'll break down everything. I believe Bob will be on site. Is that correct, Bob?
Yes.
Chills.
Yes.
So we'll
I'll
get
fluff up some lies.
Yep. Yep. Maybe even kick a few back into the F way.
Yes. Yes.
Bob mentions the playing smart though, and I think the rough at Memorial tells you how to play the golf. Like, I'm gonna throw Sunday out. I'm gonna be kind and just say he was going at pins.
Extremely
Well,
generous.
because I think he was playing just very aggressive on Sunday. Because like he doesn't give a crap if he finishes T11 versus solo five. I don't think. I think he thinks he's playing good enough that like he's gonna lose some points there, but he'll make them up, elsewhere.
I don't think he's worried about points. I think he knows his game's in position where he shouldn't have to
Yeah.
worry,
No, I agree. And it's
which is
like
nice.
the heavy rough kind of tells you how to play the shot. Like you got to do what you got to do. And at Oakmont, when you miss the fairway, I mean your options are going to be slim. I mean, there aren't the water hazards at Oakmont that there are at Memorial. So I mean, like worst case scenario, you lay up in the rough. Yeah, I'm looking at Oakmont right now. There's not a single hole with water. So I mean, the worst case scenario is you go from rough to rough, but it's like,
Could happen many times.
oh, it very well could. The rough is listed at 5 inches for Oakmont. So
Yeah, what
you're
was
getting
Memorial?
into
3.5?
four. And I mean, that was brutal. I mean, it was nearly a pitch out every single time at four. So I'm sure you can imagine what five would be.
I mean, yeah, I think that yeah, it's tough to not talk about Oakmont in almost every topic we're talking about, just because that is, you try and peak for the majors, right? But I think that it's just like Speed doesn't win without you seeing it coming, and this is a big step in the direction of seeing it coming. Um, and I don't think he's there yet, but it's it was nice to get reps in contention. My biggest concern is just that it's the wet concrete on the range in the morning, like you said, Jordan. It's just you really don't see him continuing a good swing over multiple weeks. You see it changing. Um, but I guess we'll see what the concrete shows us at Oakmont.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's where Sunday was kind of sad. And it's like, yeah, he'll have a chance to show us next week if Sunday was just him going at pins and playing too aggressive. But I mean, it's been this way all year, just the lack of consistency. He's matched up good approach playing, good putting once this year, and it came back, what, 4 months ago. So don't want to call it a lost season because we still got some events where I think he could play well, but it's like until you consistently start to, hit your irons and wedges at a good level, it's tough to predict contention. Like I think it can happen, but it's tough to be confident in it when he's just inconsistent at a consistent basis.
I think in hindsight too, we'll look depending on how the rest of the season plays out. This was a pretty important week. Because we're getting into a stretch of golf that the events are fewer and farther between. Like that was a big 5 week stretch. And they're not like his greatest events. Um, obviously US Open at Oakmont does not scream Jordan Spieth. The Travelers Championship, despite his one win in 2017, has never been
Poor player.
yeah,
They
just
don't go
hasn't
there
been
on a
his
consistent
his
basis.
his friend. Um and then it's off to, I guess, potentially Silvis, although that seems
Unlikely.
who knows what that July schedule looks like, right? Obviously it's Scottish, which he's played okay at the Renaissance Club, and then uh obviously Portrush is probably the event on the schedule that I think is like the biggest one. I mean, it's probably the biggest event left on the schedule. You could argue that, but it's the one that it's like, all right, a great week there would go a long way for a lot of sort of the goals of this season. Um, and the chances of sort of like the ranches and the
Yeah.
obviously we've passed Pebble a long time ago, but Phoenix, like places he's played well consistently at throughout the years, like are mostly in the rear view. So
Yeah.
to grab a T7 at Memorial was
Southwind's not,
a
I guess, awful
nice
for him.
Big. I mean, it was big for Ryder Cup too. great showing in front of the captain as well.
They matched the captain on Sunday.
Captain.
Yeah. But I think that you could see him at the Wyndham. Maybe the Wyndham.
We were mentioning the Wyndham in our chat earlier, one of our group chats earlier today, and
He'd probably
I
play pretty
think
well
it's
there,
a good
man.
spot for his game right now, the
Yeah,
Wyndham.
I agree.
And you mentioned the captain. I think
Field
we're
of his
probably
caliber as well.
Yeah, that's very much so. I think you mentioned the captain. I think we're probably all three in a consensus that if the season ended today, he's on the team. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If it ended today, he's on the team.
On the
I think he
team
would
or
deserve
want
it
him on the
too.
team?
I think he's
I'd have to
on the
look
team.
at the names. I think he's
certainly-
definitely on the team if the season ends today. He's
Yeah.
probably someone I'd pick as well.
Yeah. I'd agree. Not
He
even
has been
being
trending
biased.
in the way that like
I don't know if he's someone
you would
I'd want
pick
to
him.
rely on,
Nope.
but the
Nope.
Americans don't have many of those in general. So you might as well take the good paycheck golfers.
Yeah.
He is kind of on that line of like, obviously the name helps quite a bit, but it's also
Boys Club as well.
like, who do you?
There's not 12 guys over him right now. There's
No.
just
No, there's not, and it's been because it's been inconsistent from the Burger camp, the Finau camp, the Clark.
Well, it really
camp.
just comes down to process of elimination as the season goes on, right? Like we
Right. So
had
he's
probably
getting slightly lucky that some of these other guys are just not playing that well, and he's playing his way into the mix. If he was playing a lot,
how
more
many locks
mediocre
do we
golf,
have
he
right
wouldn't
now?
be there. What's up?
Not statistical locks, but like how many locks? Like we know. Let me look up the standings.
Probably 8, but that's just
Yeah, I
off the
think
top. Like obviously Scheffler.
Scheffler, Xander, Bryson,
JT.
JT, sadly,
Morikawa.
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 Cantlay, I would think is a
Griffin.
lock. You're counting Griffin as a lock already.
Yeah,
Griffin's interesting, but he
he won't.
probably is. He's
He
7th.
won't.
He's played well.
He won't fall out of the top 12, and he's played well enough in this 2-week stretch that I think that alone probably gets him. He's played well all year,
Yeah.
but this 2-week stretch has really brought his name there.
Well, he
I don't
could.
see a
He's the
way.
type of dude that could win at like the Travelers, like that. That's a kind of a Ben Griffin.
Yeah, I
place.
think it's probably 8. I think it's the top 7 plus Cantlay.
Yeah, Cantlay. I mean, I'm not
Yeah,
gonna say
they're
he's
not
a
leaving
lock.
him at home.
I don't disagree, but
And then the
it
other
would be
4,
very nice to see some life out of him.
yeah, the other 4 is
Um,
probably right now Spieth, English.
Mav.
Were you not including Henley?
No, I was.
Okay, cool. I'm not for
Um,
the anti-Henley agenda. He
I
played well this
I
week too.
I think he'll be fine. I just think the course is so long. Like I'm really scared of the Denny's, the world.
And he's playing his way off the team
Yeah.
these
Yeah,
last
he's not been
4 or
good recently.
5.
Yeah. I think it's probably English.
English, I think should be there
cool
actually.
with
English,
English.
Cantlay, Mav. Sorry, not Cantlay. I already counted him as a lock. Probably English, Mav, Spieth.
Fowler.
P. Reed, man.
I love P. Reed. What
Fowler.
is he? I mean, he's 34th in the points, and he's only getting points for majors.
Yeah. There's also the sort of not caveat, but like the plot twist that Koepka just like refined
Yeah,
some
no,
magical
we
form
have not been considering him. It's
at
very
a
well
at a
said.
major.
We roll him out, please.
It's
I
also
would like to,
Bethpage.
but
If he wins a live event, he will be on the team.
Yeah, I guess there's
if
enough time for him to make
he
a
wins
case.
a live, and then he hasn't not played well at opens. You know,
I mean, you just look at who that 5th name, that 6th, that 12th name would be, and I mean, we're just looking at Novak. I mean, I love Harmon. It's just not his course.
yes, he's
Novak, Spawn, Hoagie.
I wouldn't.
Don't hate
Or-
Spawn.
What?
Don't hate Spawn.
Spawn's a
I
decent player.
if I was making the decision, it would be Bradley for me.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about
Well,
Keegan.
see,
I
that's
think
But
what's
Keegan should
tough is like
100% be on this
it,
team.
there.
he's not going to be.
I would also
I will call Keegan a loser if he doesn't pick himself, man, because he wants to
Well, he's
lose if he's not
16th in the
picking.
points. I think it's going to be tough for him now.
so that's
Points are a joke.
speaking of the points, yeah, they're kind of ridiculous, but Spieth is like in the perfect spot where if he works his way into 15th or something, like that means he played more than well enough to be on the team. And he doesn't even
Wasn't he
have to be
13th right now?
no, he's 25th. Like he
Oh,
was so far back at this. He got basically nothing last year.
yeah, it's true.
And has worked his way into the top 25. Uh which is kind of pathetic, but that's where he's at after 2 years, but regardless. Shoot. I know he hasn't played super well, but like two of them actually. But there's still time. Batia, Thigala, like those dudes
There's
are
so many names that can get that 12th spot.
both names that are like
It should be, I think, the best golfer right now of the rest of them is probably Reed. I just don't think he's got any shot.
I'd agree. We'll see how he plays on the live
actually
circuit
like
the rest
I
of the
could
way.
totally see a
I'll be tuned
T
in.
Reed T4 at Oakmont.
I'd love to see it. What do
Just
you
Frank
think Patrick
scrambles his
Reed needs
ass
to
off.
do besides he probably needs a top 10 and a live win, probably. That would be consideration.
Live's playing this week, teeing it up in Virginia.
Yeah.
Reed,
Spieth's
I
not.
think well, Reed missed a big chance at the PGA. I thought Coyle was going to be a decent fit for him. I think
Didn't
a
I
lot of
use
people
him
did.
in triple double?
And
Also, congrats to Dan on not using Scheffler.
well,
He
I didn't
couldn't
have
use Scheffler.
I already booked up my Schefflers and got like 450,000 for him. So that was not good from the Dan camp.
Thanks.
Um,
Yeah, it's troublesome for the Dan camp right now.
yeah, I'm gonna need Harry English to bail me out at Travelers, I think, is my new play. But
You still have a Rory?
I do have a Rory.
Okay.
I have a Rory. I have a Fleetwood.
With like 600 max.
Well, yeah, but it's, depending on where you use them.
We still have two majors.
I have
And
a
we have,
Bryson too. Like I've got
don't forget the playoffs.
I have a
First two events
Rom.
count.
Yeah, no, I've got some ground to make up though, because Jordan, you have another Scheffler, don't you?
I do.
So that's
I don't know where I'm going to use it though.
I mean
Careful.
anywhere.
I think the obvious
I
answer
would
is Oakmont, just because I don't think he
Yeah.
physically can finish outside of the top 10.
I might
Yeah.
go for the
I don't think
Travelers.
I don't know. Deep down.
Like didn't he win there last year?
Where?
Travelers. Was
Travelers
that 2 years ago?
2 years
Oh, that
ago.
could be a very, very uncompetitive tournament.
Like Scheffler could be at 28 and everybody else is at 18.
It's
and,
like, yeah. No, that's completely impossible.
I mean, where
and it's a
hasn't he won
sig.
yet?
It's a signature event. So
I'll have to look
anyway.
at
Here's something I'd like to talk about for you in triple level. Who is your player of the year right now?
Scheffler. He'll make it not like a non-question.
Oh, no, he
Yeah.
will. But I'm saying if the season ended right now, I think it's still Rory. The events
Scheffler.
he's won have been there. A SIG, a players, a major.
I mean, Scheffler's got two
Jeez.
majors.
2 majors. Yeah, it's well said.
No,
Two
It's to
majors.
pick off
it's got to
3
be
in 4
Rory.
weeks.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Rory.
I think,
too.
but what does Scheffler need to get past him?
Another win. Anyone.
I mean, he's going to win
I
it
don't
at
know.
least
I think
twice.
he's got to win a signature and another or a major. Obviously, he wins another major, he's clear. But
Okay.
I think Rory's. It's hard to. It was only a few months ago that he was doing what Scheffler's doing right now. Not in the same like back-to-back type of thing, but he won the 3 biggest events of the first part of the season. right? And he wasn't as dominant, right? He had to take JJ Spawn out for a
Yeah.
Monday morning stroll, but
There's
um,
something to the domination.
yeah, no, I don't disagree. But Scheffler also won at Memorial's probably, I mean, the PGA is obviously the better win, but winning at Memorial by 4 is cooler than winning at Quail by 5, in my opinion. Um,
We haven't even talked about him that much until Bob posed the
Who?
question. Scheffler was just like,
he's so good, man.
yeah.
And Saturday was crazy because you're like, oh, Spieth's one back. He was beating Scheffler by 1, and then literally an hour later, he's losing. And obviously, part of it's Spieth, but he's losing by 5, and the tournament's over. Like you just know it's over.
I mean,
Um,
the thing that did it for me was when Griffin put it to like 8 feet for eagle, and then Scheffler responded by putting it to like 12. Like that's so stupid.
He had
Like,
what, like 13 straight pars, and he just goes into like the first of all
yeah.
to birdie 17 and 18 back to back. It's just like Speed did it this week, but it's just like, okay,
When
man.
he saw Griffin come back to the field and he was at 4 under, bogey free, I bet he was like, I'm going to win this tournament.
I mean, Jack said it after the round. Like these guys
Yeah,
aren't in his class.
they're
Right?
not.
His
I don't
Scheffler's
I
sitting
don't
right there.
think I think there's only one dude in his close to being it's
I
Rory.
don't even know if he is.
It
And
ain't
I
even
don't think he's in his
close.
class
No.
right now. Right now. I think their seasons match up class wise. And I would still give
I
Rory the
mean,
nod.
let's I mean
Because he's
let's talk
also
about it. It's one of Spieth's best weeks of the year, and it's another loss in the column.
yeah,
222 and 1?
223 and one,
right.
right?
It's
Okay.
another and he lost by 9.
Yes.
Like
Yes. Scheffler covered.
Scheffler covered the
Actually,
seven and a
did
half.
Scheffler cover?
They offer games, like plus games in tennis. We need like a
Yes.
stroke.
I'd argue Scheffler might not have covered. I'll have to check on the pre tournament line.
I feel
In
like
fairness to Spieth, that's to everyone.
I feel like 8.5 was probably the line.
Yeah.
So he covered.
I
Also,
mean,
but
plus
to your
plus
to your
1.5 rounds. Or plus no, plus 3.5 rounds hit, which is nice. He won a round.
true. Um, but to your point on Scheffler, like Saturday was absurd. It's like, as soon as there's any blood in the water. I mean, obviously Griffin was bleeding for quite a while Saturday until he reverted the ship, fixed, righted the ship, and then Scheffler goes boom, 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 boom to lead by 1. It's just crazy. Like it's robotic in the least robotic swing ever, like the least robotic looking swing. And he hits it and he starts leaning a little bit, and you're like, oh, that's 15 feet. His bad shots are 15 feet. And he's figured out how to putt. And it seems like he's a little pissed off that he didn't win more at the beginning of the year. Um, and it's cool. Like I enjoy watching the domination in some sense. Um, I
Yeah.
will give a little, shout out to Ben Griffin in some sense. Like obviously Sunday didn't go great, but he was kind of there through 15, 16. Like it was a
That
late
eagle was
push.
big.
The Eagle birdie, it's like, yeah, he came to compete. Um,
Type of guy you want on the Ryder Cup team.
and yeah, well, if he's gonna keep hitting the ball as far as he is off the tee, it's not like crazy far, but it's farther than Griffin used to hit the ball off the tee. Then yeah, he's Ryder Cup ready. Um, so we'll see. But it's also I mean, we'll see if Rory has a little get back this week too. As much as I also sort of want Scheffler to just keep dominating in some sense, if Spieth isn't gonna do it, um, then it would be kind of cool to have a like Rory win this week in Canada, and maybe Bryson win at Live or something. And we've got the three sort of top players in the world uh going into the US Open, the defending champ, the guy who could have easily won it last year, and then best player in the world, best player since Tiger. That would be an electric storyline. Uh, and then Ches Reavie finds his way into the field and wins the golf tournament. I don't even know how I thought of Ches Reavie on the last time that guy's played, but no, it's been a fun golf season, and I think Scheffler's domination really
Again,
creates storylines, and it helps though that obviously Rory's had an amazing season and Bryson's playing well too. So
I got one more question before we log off, unless you guys got anything else. Next week, I gave you Bryson and Scotty versus the field. Who you taking?
Bryson and Scotty easily.
um that's a
I'm
tough
always a field guy. I think Bryson wins. If Bryson doesn't win, I don't know if anyone else has a chance.
Okay.
Yeah. God, it's tough to pick the field. Like I just can't imagine anybody from the field winning.
Yeah.
I think that's part of
Rory
it.
is a little bit too small
Rory's not
to
winning.
to stay mentally checked into that tournament. And
I'm not sure Bryson has I think he's sort of built for it, but I also a little
it's
we'll see how it plays out.
it's just such a
Because he did
wing
it at
foot
Winged Foot.
setup.
Yeah, he did it at Winged Foot. So
He plays the same game except he's even straighter.
true,
So I mean, granted, there wasn't a player like Scotty at the time, but still.
true. We'll see how
History would
Scotty
tell you in
adjusts.
the last 9 US Opens, all nine have been won by a player inside the top 25 of the Data Golf rankings. Something Spieth is now. Just food for thought. Just food
He's
for
got a
thought.
chance.
It's kind of funny
Come
too. I think
on.
the two guys that were lowest were both Brooks. It's like
Oh,
he's different than all the other ones.
yeah. That's
But yeah, I think I'm taking Bryson and Scotty versus the field.
that's tough. I mean, I'd watch out for Pavon.
He's a big game hunter.
He seems to get up in these sort of circumstances.
I mean, you just look at the
Um,
rest of the top 10, and it's just like
oh,
Rom,
there's
meh.
nothing inspiring. So I was thinking about this. I I do think there's a Rom chance because the
I
guys
think
who
Rom's got a
I
chance.
think the guys who win majors, they're kind of popping a few of them before. And Rom at the PGA, wasn't he tied for the lead back nine Sunday?
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's a major early and maybe it's Portrush for Rom. Um, but I think it's a decent fit. I could see him making some putts there. I'll have to go back and look at Winged Foot, see some of the guys who played there, how they played.
Golf lacks depth, man.
Because it's curious to kind of see what translated there. Obviously, Bomb and Gouge was huge, but who were some of the guys that also made some putts? Like, could Hideki win next week if he
No,
just has one of those weeks?
I don't see it. I
Maybe.
mean, these guys just aren't good. Like,
Yeah. Well, yeah, relative to the class at the top,
What
they're
is
not.
Scheffler's floor at Oakmont?
T8, T7,
Probably like +7,
he's
which is
gonna be
like, yeah,
minus money to
fine.
top five. It's just like you look at Rom, JT doesn't hit fairways,
No,
Fleetwood doesn't
JT's
win,
cooked.
Morikawa probably won't hit it far enough. Neiman sucks at majors. Xander's not even close to peak Xander. Straka doesn't hit it far.
Straka could be interesting. So
I
that's
don't
the
think he
other
hits it
thing
far enough.
is that I know it's bomb, and the other problem is going to play soft. But if it played firmer, I think it would bring more guys into it.
I'd
But
agree,
if
probably.
it does play a little bit more, and we're projecting obviously, but if it does rain a little bit, like that takes out like it really takes out some guys. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know. Could Straka be in play for an Open? I feel like the next step for him is a major.
Yeah, I think he could
Could win a
make a run. He's not going to win though.
Yeah.
He's a winner too. He's proven that.
It's just hard to win majors when you hit it so short.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
I
especially
told you, it's funny too, because props to the model. He was last in the PGA model and he missed the cut.
yeah. There you go. Well, Mr. Models.
He's also 0 for 2 in cuts this year at majors. So
Oh,
there's
well,
that.
that's not great. Mr. Model predicted the winner in 3 out of the last 4.
Well, well.
Number
Oh, that's
one,
funny.
Scotty
That's funny.
Scheffler.
Yes, it did predict that. We're going for
Probably,
4 for 5 next week.
yeah. Yeah, we'll have to see how Canada shakes out. Yeah, to be honest, back to that Bryson Scotty question, it's just tough to envision anybody from the field like doing anything more than battling for third, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's not entirely true. I think that there is a world where Bryson blows up, but
Well, so then battling for second. Like
yeah, there's
I
no
don't
world where
I
Scheffler
don't think
blows
either
up.
of them there's no way. I think Scheffler almost like gets buoyed by seeing other people not play well. Like I think he just knows that at some point he's gonna just be better than anybody on the course that day. He just has to wait for it to happen. And it's sort of like if Bryson I think if there's definitely a world where Bryson walks into that with the wrong mindset and is like, "Oh, things are gonna go my way," and they don't go his way early, that he's 3 over through 14, 4 over through 14 and having an uphill battle the rest of the week. Because my guess is Oakmont, you're gonna have to lead from out in front. There's not gonna be a whole lot of I mean, what do you think the low rounds? What was the low round at Oakmont in 16? Do you know?
I shall pull it up.
I think 64.
Like, does anybody?
65.
Ooh, it's
Wow.
impressive.
That's
Round 2. Louis and Daniel Summerhays gained 8.6 shots with their 65s.
Wow.
that.
Said Oosterhuizen. Oosterhuizen.
Do you guys want to know what the high round was?
Let me guess. I want to say it started with a 9.
Did not.
That's unfortunate. Was it close?
Oh, yes, it was close.
I'm gonna say so 89.
89. Zachary Edmondson, it went 89.77 for plus 26. Oof.
A tough week, man.
Yeah. Actually, we're as usual running overtime here. Spieth actually played half decently in 16. He actually gained strokes 3 of the 4 days. And if he was
What
2 shots better, he would have T23. So like
what was his rounds?
uh I think he went 72, 7. Yeah, it's 24, which we all got to see that in person, which was wonderful. He went 72, 72, 70, 75.
Great performance.
He
Four
was
over heading
also,
into Sunday.
yeah, which, yeah, Sunday was bad, but he was also the third best player in the world then.
True.
What a fall.
Yeah. But he hung around in 16.
Tumbleweed.
He did tumble that Sunday. Will he hang
Yes.
around next week? I do not know.
I look forward to finding out though. I'm excited. Pull out
Yeah.
the peacock and Watch the featured groups.
It seems like the first beastie beast of the US Open since probably Winged Foot.
Yeah.
Just like your classic Winged Foot, Shinnecock, Oakmont.
There
like those are-
just won't be
It's
many birdies out there.
Yeah, it's like the Big Ten football of major championships. There's a U.S. Open at one of these venues.
I'm not really getting
Ground
what
and
you're
pound.
alluding to. Oh, ground.
Ground and pound, a lot of defense and punting.
Yeah. I'll leave us with this. JMP.
A lot of punting.
JMP next week. JMP. Just make parts. Just make parts.
Yes. Yes. I wonder, like, do you think Spieth going into the US Open with the mindset if I make 72 pars, I win is a good mindset to have?
Yes. Because if he makes 72 pars, he probably doesn't win, but he definitely finishes top 10.
I'd argue he definitely finishes top 5. There
Yeah.
will not be 5 people that finish under par.
Yeah, even with T5.
Someone
and
could win at
16.
six under, like Bryson did at Winged Foot, but not that many people are finishing under par.
Yeah.
It will
No, that's
it
well
will be
said.
one of the great separations. I really do. I think that we could see Scheffler beat 12th place by 12 shots.
I mean, he beat fourth place by 12 earlier this year.
Yeah.
So I could see that.
Part of me hopes Spieth plays with Scheffler next week just to be able to watch because I want to see Scheffler take on that course.
Do you think they'd pair him? They
don't think
typically, what was his
US
group
Open
last
plays
year?
he'll play with the
Hideki
USAM, right?
and- Who else did he play with? Hideki and
Scheffler and Ballester. Off to live.
oh, he played with Suber because somebody withdrew.
J-Day.
Or do you get that exemption even if you turn pro?
What exemption?
The US amateur exemption.
No.
Because he turned pro.
I mean, look, is Ballester in the field?
He turned pro after the NCAA championships.
Yeah, I don't see a Ballester in the field.
It's
Yeah, I'm
unfortunate.
pretty
for
sure
him.
you lose that because then you could make money.
Oh,
and they
that's
wouldn't
actually
let
not true. He's in
He's
the
in the
field.
Yes.
Interesting. Can you see what his qualification was?
F4, winner of 2024 US Amateur.
So maybe he's, but is he
Off
gonna get
to Torquay, possibly.
Could be the Fireballs. Could be the
Could be
Fireballs.
the Fireballs. Yes. Yes.
Is the Fireballs all
Sergio
Spanish?
Puig Ballester. Ballester would be a fan of the flamboyant colors. He could probably pull it off better than Sergio can.
Thank God Sergio is not in the field next week to show off the outfits.
The Winged Foot, the Oakmont members would ask him to leave the property.
Can't rule that out.
But that's all I have.
Yep, that's all I got.
Right out of fumes. I got nothing. Ali Mathieu.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Peace.
Appreciate it.
See ya.
Take care.